Hi everyone, it's Rebecca here. I am here for Module 5. For Module five's assignment, I am choosing to explore and evaluate a PowerPoint presentation that I used with my students last year during COVID when we were virtual, and then also a Google Slides that I used during COVID for students for social study or for science notes, excuse me. These were used by my students, but then also our entire fifth grade. And I was helping my students filling these out when they would come to me during their free period during the day to help them fill in or finish their science notes. And we used them for a good chunk while we were virtual last year, so I thought I would take a look at those. The first item that we have is the PowerPoint. So looking at the PowerPoint that I have, when I hit view and I hit outline view, all of my titles appear on the sides, and it has all the content, it has the title, and then it goes into any information in order that it has. Some of my slides you'll see don't have titles, and that's just because when I click the slide and go to them, it is just a question. It doesn't have a title for that specific slide. So let me see if I can bring it up. So some of my slides, as I said, you can just see, for example, it says 107 to the nearest tenths, and this PowerPoint is all about rounding, or to the tenths. This is all about rounding. So some of these slides did not have any titles, unlike some of the earlier slides that had the instruction. So I was happy to see that when I hit view and I looked at my outline view, that all of the titles came up. As I was looking through them and tabbing to see if for reading order, it also worked as well, where when I clicked the slide, it started with the title and it went in sequential order all the way down the slide, which was great. So I was glad. So all these resources I've made for teaching, but I've never taught online. So I was interested to see how some of these items would compare. I did know that, for example, in my second slide that has a place value chart, when I looked at the text box and the image shape to hit format pictures and then to see if it had text, it just had the website where I had gotten the chart from. So that is something that definitely going forward I would fix, so that I could put a caption in there or something. That way a student who might have visual impairment could read or have the caption read to them. That way they understand what the image is showing on the slides. And the lists in examples such as slide 3, when I was tabbing through, it did go in order, such as going through number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, all the way to number 5 before going to the picture. So it was following the sequential order. In this PowerPoint particularly, I do not have any links or tables. Another item I did really want to look at was the color. So color on the PowerPoints are easy to change. So right now I have it set as a light blue with a black background where I can clearly see it. For students who may have a visual impairment or maybe colorblind, it is easy for me where I can just go in to the layout and I could set all of the background as white and leave all of the black print. That way it's black and white, and for students that are visually impaired and colorblind, it would be easier for them to access. So that is something going forward I would definitely check with all the material I use is the background, since that is important as well. Since I am a special ed teacher, I do look at my presentations before I do begin instruction, just because I have students that have different needs. So the background is definitely something that I could change if I had a student that was visually impaired when I would be using this item. Also in here, I don't have any, as I said, tables. I don't have any other additional math items in here, such as equations that would make it hard to read. And then I don't have any audio in this presentation as well. So I was impressed about some of the items that I do already have in this PowerPoint. The next one I want to take a look at is Google Slides as well. So since my school has switched to Google within the last few years, I have been using Google Slides more than PowerPoints. Even though I do use some of my PowerPoints I did create a few years ago too as well. I have also uploaded them into Google Drive and had them convert into Google Slides just to make it easier for students, and so I can share it easier and upload it. Before we used Google Classroom, which made it easy to upload, and then also with Schoology, I find it easier to upload Google Slides for students, especially when doing assignments, versus putting a PowerPoint for them to use. So looking at this is a science note packet. I'm looking at the teacher version just because of privacy reasons with my other students from last year. So with being online and having the textbook, this is basically our textbook brought to life in a Google slide. So one of the things I did earlier before this is I did download this just to see what it would look like. And when I downloaded it and hit the outline view, nothing actually appeared on the sidebar like my PowerPoint I had for place value, where it has like that layout in the outline view. So that is something that I did try and it was not there. However, looking at let me click on slide 3. For example, when I click this, just like a PowerPoint, I can tab through all of the different items. The only suggestion I would probably make is when I'm tabbing through this life science PowerPoint is when I get down to the links, these are the different pages of notes, it only highlights a box. It doesn't highlight the individual links that are in there. So I would probably separate them by individual text boxes just so I could tab through them faster and number them as well, just to help with the organizational piece. However, the links that are in here, when I do click on them, it will take me to the links, such as if I would present this slide, for example, and I click, let's say decomposers, that is towards the end, it will take me to the page for decomposers, and I can click through with a click and the notes will appear in order. The same with when I am looking at it in the other view as well. It goes through as well, going through in order of the items. Oops. So it does do that as well, which is great. In terms of color for the Google Slides, it does have the background of green, which I know could potentially cause some problems for students that may also, as I said, have visual impairments. However, most of the notes that are taken are all in black and white, meaning the text is in black with a white background to make it easy for students. In here as well, we do have some pictures, and again, the captions are not enabled on here, so that is something also I would look into for the pictures, making sure that I could have it reading the pictures. One good thing about Google Slides and the applications that my school uses is we have some snap and read filters that allow for items to be read on here in case, for example, these slides aren't user-friendly. Our students can use the snap and read feature to snap and read slides, Google Docs, anything that is really on their computer, which is great, especially if, as I'm looking forward through the accessibility of some of these items that if they're not accessible, at least I have apps that I know my students can use that will make them accessible for that. Looking at the bullet points, I don't believe, let me just check. Looking through here, this is all notes, so I really don't have bullet points. I do have questions, though, on some of the pages, and when I do tab through, it does also go in order as well, going down 1, 2, and 3. Because I know order can also be important, so it's not jumping all around the slide. Overall, I actually was kind of shocked with how user-friendly it already is. There are definitely improvements to be made, such as pictures, checking out the background as well, and the different text for students who may need a different text in order to read or to make text larger, background, and adding audio in as well for students. Since I am not used to teaching online, I was actually surprised by the amount of items that I do already have in my toolkit that do have some of the accessibility options on there. Going forward, I will definitely take more of a look at the items I am using and posting just so that they are accessible to a wide variety of students. I know currently I don't have any students that need some of these accommodations, but they're great to have as well, just so I can make sure that they are there for in the future, but then also in case someone else might use my resources that I do share with my coworkers and colleagues. So if they have a student that, it's ready for them in case I'm not aware of the student that has those other needs. Thank you for watching, and please leave me some of your feedback. I'd be very interested to hear some of your opinions as well. Have a great night, everybody.